Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight to this really special evening where we get to showcase some incredibly, truly influential women in our ski and snowboard community. So tonight we'll get to hear them share a little bit about their journey, lived experiences in sport, as well as get their thoughts on some really important topics that are women participating in sport are dealing with and learning about and navigating and crushing out. So I'm really excited to be here and help shape those conversations. So quickly, my name is Christy Geloretto, and yes, I'll be the moderator tonight, so thank you again to Snowboard Saves and Alberta Snowboard and everybody asking me to come here and do this tonight. I'm a certified mental performance consultant and registered psychologist here in Alberta. I am located and based in Victoria, BC, with the Canadian Sport Institute Pacific. And I'm so blessed to be able to work as the mental performance and mental health lead with Canada Snowboard. So I'm super excited to be here and have some of these conversations. So I do feel it's important, and I've got to read it. Please forgive me, to acknowledge that we are here on the land here at the Alt Hotel University District, located on the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, made up of the Siksika, Piikani, Amsa, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, the Ithka, Nakota, Wikstabee, and Tsuut'ina First Nation. And the city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta District 5 and 6. So we're truly grateful to be able to share this space and gather tonight. So thank you so much. I would love to just do a very quick flyover of who we have on our panel. Some phenomenal people, I'm really excited. First, we have Felicity Jeremiah, and she's a dual sport. I'm gonna give you time to talk more about this, but I'm just gonna do quick. Dual sport, snowboard, half pipe, and softball. And then Corinne Daze, Alberta Snowboard coach, head coach. I'm sure you're more than that too, so I'll give you a chance. And then Elizabeth Hosking, our half-pipe snowboarder. And then Amy Fraser, ski. Any skiers in the house? Free ski, half-pipe.
We love you.
And then Ali Fraser, Ali Fields, who I have listed as influential community leader and photographer. Ooh. So I'm super excited to hear more about that. I am going to sit down for the questions and kind of just try to, make this very, very casual, organic. The first question we're going to start with is tell us a little bit about what you do in the sports side of things. If you have other roles, volunteer in sport, student, these types of things. Just give us a good overview of how you are in the sport community and then how you got there. So what was the path? Share a little bit about your path to how you got here today. We'll go ahead and start with Felicity.
My name is Felicity Jeremiah. I'm on the Canadian half-pipe snowboard team. I grew up playing many sports. Anything my mom would put me in, I'd definitely go out and rock it, whatever. I played soccer. I swam competitively. I still play softball a little bit. But yeah, just my mom put me in all of my sports and I just worked hard from there.
I remember when she would come from her swim practice to snowboard training or snowboard competition and show up with her wet hair, and we'd have to make sure that it's all covered because otherwise it would ice over. I'm Corinne Daze. I work mainly with Riders on Board as one of the lead coaches as well as the operations manager, and been involved with the snowboard scene here in Alberta for 23 years. And then this year also coaching the Brazil national team. So heading to Milan in a few months, or 1 month, a few weeks now, which will be my first time at the Olympics. So that's pretty exciting. And I also work closely with Canada Snowboard as a coach developer. So I coach coaches, basically. So all 3 levels, so Comp Intro, Comp Intro Advanced, and Comp Dev this year as well. And yeah, just super excited to be here with all these incredible women. So, you're on.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hosking. I'm on the national team for half-pipe snowboarding. Been on the national team for almost 10 years now, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm a 2-time Olympian, going into my 3rd in a couple weeks. Time flies. Yeah, I got into snowboarding. I was just a very active kid when I was younger, and we were a skiing family, and we would go skiing every weekend. Actually, I was on snowblades. The whole family was. The whole family was on snowblades. They looked like skis on me, not my parents. But then one day I just realized that my brother was on a snowboard, and as the little sister, I always wanted to be like my older brother, and I just went up to my parents and I was like, I want a snowboard too. And they were like, no, he was 8, you gotta wait until you're 8. And my entrance is U-shaped. So one day I just put on all of my winter gear, my winter boots, and I just took his snowboard and I just went down my entrance, and my parents were like, oh, she's serious. And then I got my first rented snowboard that next season, and I haven't stopped since.
That's awesome. And snowboarding looks pretty cool. Hi, I'm Amy Fraser. I'm a Team Canada half-pipe skier. I am a 1-time Olympian and going for the 2nd in a few weeks, and didn't know it was that close, but also knew. I've skied my whole life. My parents got us on skis at a really young age, and I was also a competitive gymnast for my adolescence, I guess, and I kind of stopped all sports when I went to university, and during my last year met some other skiers just by chance working at Windsport summer camps, and they're slopestyle skiers, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so cool and so fun, and kind of reignited my passion for skiing again. And yeah, that was in 2016, and kind of just worked my way up onto our national team program. And yeah, now it's 2026 almost. Happy New Year's, everybody. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, time flies. And yeah.
Hi, it's a little loud. Hi, I'm Allie Field. I'm a photographer, so I'll be out there this weekend shooting, which will be really awesome. I also work for Unlimited Board Shop. I do their marketing, and I manage the team there and all of our events. And I help out a little bit with Quay Queens and some of the other community events around in Banff and Canmore. I started snowboarding actually just over at Windsport when I was a kid, because I grew up here, and the feeling, there's just really nothing like it. I kind of was addicted right away, but I'm not kind of averse to risk, so I wasn't going to go pro with that, that's for sure. But I really loved being able to like take something creative and combine it with snowboarding, so photography and a little bit of filmmaking here and there. I did my first an all-women's film last year, and that was a really crazy experience. So a little bit of filming, but mostly photography. But it's really cool, and I love it.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love how everybody has they've got this amazing path with just a variety of different experiences in it, and it sounds like there are people who are influential to you on as part of that path. So I think my follow-up question would be, would anyone like to share who their role models were growing up or getting into the sports, or that somebody showed up and said, you can do this? Anyone want to share that?
I can start. I don't know role models. I came into the sport kind of late, so I knew who a few of the role models were, but definitely just the friends that I was skiing with. I think people who've helped keep me in the sport have been really great coaches, really awesome sports psychs and mental performance coaches, and shout out to Mom, always, yeah, good sounding board. But
Anyone else?
I don't know if anybody here knows Beth St. Maur that started Riders on Board 26 years ago. So she was always has been a big influence in my life. And she's now retired from the snowboard club, but has definitely passed some pretty incredible values. And to keep snowboarding fun first and foremost is kind of her biggest value at Riders on Board. And I'm really thankful for her kind of passing along, these values around the sport and just making sure that all the kids can be in a safe environment with our coaches and everybody at Riders on Board too, the other coaches that have supported my career as well. So that's been super, super important for sure.
Excellent. Anyone else with role models? That's okay, we'll scoot along. I think that leads to another question around community. I've been part of other conversations with community, and one of the things that I see every day when I'm working with snowboard is a massive, big heart of community. And I'm just curious about how community has shown up for you. How it made you feel welcome. Maybe were there some barriers, but what's community mean to you, being part of ski or snowboard?
I met my best friend growing up in our first snowboard club together. Still talk to that guy every day. And he was a competitive snowboarder for a while as well in border cross, but then eventually now he's onto the coaching side. I wouldn't have met my best friend if it wasn't for snowboarding. And then just all the friends that I make along the way is just insane, and get to, go to all these crazy places around the world, but always see a familiar face. And, you get to sit down and play a game of Monopoly Deal at the end of the day, whether you had a really good training or a really bad training. And that's always super, super good, and it kind of brings you down back to earth.
Amazing. Yeah, other thoughts around community, how it shows up for you, how it's been for, and maybe even in the different sports, if you've noticed the community in different sports is a little bit different.
Just in half-pipe snowboarding, everyone is friends with everyone pretty much, so riding the chairlifts at World Cups or even training camps, so if you're having conversations, or even if that run wasn't very good, they understand what, if you edged really badly, they understand how you're mad, why you're mad. It's easy to talk to people that are in the World Cup circuit.
They understand what you're experiencing because they're all experiencing it as well. Right? And I think if we look to the research, when we speak to female athletes, that feeling of association and connection is one of the guiding features of being part of sport. So I think it is truly an important aspect of sport. Have there been any barriers for any of you getting, becoming or belonging into a part of a community? Anyone ever experienced anything like that? That's wonderful. No? Brent's going for it. No, she's going for it.
When I started coaching, there was not a lot of women that were a part of it. So I think barriers mostly for myself, that imposter syndrome is real. And just really trying to find where I belonged, and especially, pushing my coaching career and now coaching high performance snowboarding. There have been barriers, but also pushing through those barriers and having that community again to back you up. And
Excellent. Anyone else encounter any barriers within the community setting, or just take you a little while to get in there?
I don't think there were a lot of barriers when I grew up. Now looking back, I was definitely the only girl in
my snowboard program. That's why most of my friends that came out of them are guys. But I think now I see definitely a shift. Like, I think growing up, it was like, okay, like girls and guys are equal, and we were promoted sport just as much. And now I can definitely see a shift in younger women or younger girls not, participating in sport as much or sport as long. So I think I was able to kind of grow up in that little era of, hey, no, like you have the role models, the professional athletes that have, come before you, and you have those girls to look up to. But for some reason now I can see, I'm a little bit older, and now I see that there aren't as many girls sticking to sports. So I don't know. Yeah.
Great question. Why do you think? What may come into play a little bit? Just thinking about for yourselves, your friends that you've been part of. What makes it hard for women to maybe stay in sport? What are some of the things that?
Sorry. I was gonna say getting bodied all the time. It's kind of sorry, but I think there's a lot of resiliency in female athletes, and I think there's a lot of girls who definitely get injured, come back, and stay with it. I just think that eventually there's the conversation in your own head, like, oh, like long term for the rest of my life, like I'd like to just have a functioning body and like a healthy head, and not worry so much about injuries. I think that's definitely one part of the problem, I guess. Also, I think there's still not that many girls in our sport. Like when I first started, I started slopestyle skiing because a girl on the Calgary Freeriders in Calgary, her coach sent her over to me and was like, hey, like go ask that girl, she wants to ski with us for the night. And that was kind of my introduction to slopestyle skiing, was her, and she's like one of my like best friends also. We're the only two girls, like it would be really cool to see a lot more girls in the sport. I think it's hard being like, hey, sign up for the sport with 15-year-old boys. You're gonna get hurt, they're gonna make fun of you, but it's gonna be fun. Like it's a bit of a hard sell. Like there's just easier sports, but like I wish it could kind of be seen like there's a forward to it of, hey, you're gonna get all these amazing opportunities, you're gonna travel the world, you're gonna meet people from all over the world and like have so much fun, and like the like jokes and stuff kind of fade away after a while, like the boys grow up too, like it's not that it's just them, but I don't know, and it's fun. Yeah.
Outstanding. I love that. Yeah, it sounds like a little bit of a tough sell when you say it like that. One of the curiosities I had was, we always have this sort of love-hate with our sport, right? And so some days it's like the best thing ever, it's a passion, and other days you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a job. Wondering if the relationship of the sport has shifted for any of you like that. Like it's just, you start up in that space and it's wonderful and all these great things, and then like the reality kind of sets in like you talk about. So have any of you experienced a bit of a shift in the relationship with sport in that sense?
Okay. Like I'm 35 years old, so like I'm not gonna go pro snowboarding, but I love the feeling of it, and I wanted to do something that was gonna combine like the creativity with being able to be out in the mountains. So that's kind of what led me to shooting, which has been really cool. But there's not, like sometimes I'll be at an event and I'll be the only like woman that's there that's shooting, and it'll be mostly men around me, and I'll feel like totally out of place and like I don't really belong there, but I might have the same amount of experience as them. So, but I kind of just like I want like younger women and younger athletes that maybe aren't going to like continue and be like a pro, that you can still like be involved in the community and still find your place and like really enjoy it and find fulfillment kind of in a different way. Like I'm not going to be progressing in the sport necessarily because I'll be on the sidelines with my camera, but that's totally fine. You just kind of adapt and go with the flow in a different way.
Amazing. I love that. And it's begging the question. When you're the only female there and you're kind of feeling like, maybe you don't belong, what gets you through it? What gets you through it?
I guess at first I'm kind of just like, this is crazy. Like I'm shooting like a, pro snowboard event or like a media event. And it just feels like out of this world, and just like kind of just getting out there and just doing it, I guess. And kind of, I would rather be out there, and even if I make a fool of myself when I don't get any good shots, that's fine. But then I'd rather younger girls see that this is like an actual job opportunity you could have, and you can, just like creating that space for up and comers. And I would love like to mentor and like help anyone out who wants to, get into it. So I would rather, I just kind of suck it up and push it down, I guess. Because I think like no matter what, if you're like, even if you're an athlete and you're feeling like out of place, like everyone feels that way. You just have to find a way to just push past it, because just giving up and leaving is just not an option.
Not an option.
No.
Absolutely. Corinne touched, applause, not an option. Corinne touched on it, that wonderful thing called imposter syndrome, where we just don't give ourselves the credit to believe that we've earned the success that we've achieved. And it is reflected in the research that female athletes will score much higher in this space than male athletes. And you spoke about it a little bit. Often it leaves a feeling of maybe trying too hard to belong or trying to prove we belong. Does anybody want to speak to that?
This isn't really snowboarding based, but when I was younger, I played soccer. I was always playing with the boys team, and I was always bigger than the boys because I was 13. More stronger than them. And I don't know, just not even proving myself, but just wanting to compete, wanting to beat them, obviously. It just, the imposter syndrome kind of goes away when you just, you push yourself to do better through imposter syndrome, I guess.
Yeah, the motivation to be better, be the best out there, and to beat them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you find ways. I appreciate that. I think it does come down to that. It's finding something very personal to you that can override some of those fears. Anyone else experience any sort of, wanting to prove or imposter syndrome kind of things out there?
Yeah, I can touch on it for a second. I started the sport a lot later than most, I'd say. So when I started, I was 21, and all my teammates were those 15-year-old boys. So I felt very much like an imposter for the first while. But luckily, I had like some great coaches who were much smarter and were like, "You're the only girl. Like, you can compete. Like, you can go to all these other contests that you want to go to. Like you can work. Like, use kind of that as fuel." I think also being kind of just in love with the sport and how much fun it is really helps kind of ignore those feelings a bit. And yeah, you just kind of ignore it till it goes away, I guess. It's very much in your own head, like, because the rest of the team, like, no one cares. Everyone's there to go skiing.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. So the point is really just, it's maybe more about what we're thinking of ourselves, maybe versus what others are. And the more we can kind of just stay in our lane and look after our path, that's probably the strongest way to approach it, right? As a coach, do you see that with your athletes? You must, hey?
You mean if they have imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, being a coach through all the levels of snowboarding, I mean, you see different sides of the mental health in sport as well. And I mean, no matter what level they're learning, there's always going to be something that you, as a coach, have to kind of touch on. And that's, you get to know your athletes really well, and that's how you get to kind of conquer that with them, I guess. And just to be there to support and to be there to make them believe in themselves. And at the end of the day, that's what, as coaches, that's what we want to do, not only for the sport, but for life. And you want that to carry on, like build the values in the sport and carry on to their lives as well.
I love that. And I think as a coach, you're in the absolute front row position to be able to just really fuel that and plant those seeds every day and just start showing them evidence and process and all the things that they're capable of doing to just continue to build it. So fantastic. Love that. Any other thoughts on imposter syndrome? You brought up a topic that's very important to me and my colleague Claire here, is around the topic of mental health. And, you know, when we start to speak about mental health, I want everybody to understand that, you know, there's been a lot of work done out there to really try to just open it up as casual conversations and just a very normalizing approach that we, you know, that we need to look after ourselves. And I think one of the best way just to describe it is our mental health is a lot like our physical health. It's on a spectrum. And I don't think we really think of it in that way. So that physical health, we're like, oh, today I feel great. You know, the next day you're like, oh, I'm super sore, right? So it's just the spectrum that we go through. And it's the same with our mental health, right? And so we're always trying to educate our athletes to really understand, you know, how am I feeling today and how do I want to manage those things? So I think one of the questions that I'm curious about is, when it comes to our own mental wellness and paying attention to those things, what are some signals that our mind-body connection give us sometimes that let us know, maybe it's a moment for a pause, to have a look and see if I need to take time or just look after myself or set back. Any signals that you all have noticed that you would mind sharing?
I mean, a huge signal is when I'm not necessarily feeling like I'm on my snowboard anymore. Like, I would really rather be anywhere else. I think that's a huge red flag.
Big red flag, yeah.
But yeah, like, I think to come back to your point of, you know, sometimes if it feels like a job, yeah, there's definitely days where I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, then I don't know, I just wake up the next day, I guess, sometimes. And honestly, sometimes the rest is what was needed to step away, to either have a good night's sleep, a rest day, or sometimes after a long season, yeah, take that break, take that vacation to just come back stronger and actually anticipating my time back on snow. You know, I had that during the holiday season. I was going in front of my home hill and I was like, I looked at it, I didn't go ride, but I looked at it and I was like, wow, I miss snowboarding. But if you know the hills from Quebec, from the Laurentians, it was Mont Avila, c'était rien. East Coast riding, that's why I didn't go ride.
Gotcha. So really understanding, like, I'd rather be anywhere else but here. And I think that is a massive red flag. And I guarantee people in this room would understand that, right? There's just some days where you're like, I'm so done. And so really what I'm hearing is just stepping away, giving yourself that time, which I think is very hard for some athletes. And I know working with some, you know, there's always that, we're high achievers, right? The high achievers, we're go, go, go. Always, you know, always more to be done. So I think it's a real challenge to take that step back, even if it's for a day or two. So anyone else want to share, sort of, what are the signals that they're noticing, that they're aware of, and it's kind of gets your attention?
When I travel with my athletes, I always do all the activities to kind of purposely take time away from on snow and to be able for them to take just a break from talking about snowboarding, from seeing the same people, and just, like, when we were in Austria, we went to Innsbruck to the Swarovski Museum. So, you know, it's little things like that, and just stepping away and going to check out a church in Europe or whatever, just doing, like, going in China, we got a driver to take us to the Great Wall, like little things like that. And I know a lot of teams do that as well, and it's nice to be able to connect on a human level with their athletes.
I mean, I follow all of the female athletes on Instagram, from hockey to basketball to all of the professional sports now, and it's insane, like, how much visibility it has not only brought to their sport, but also themselves. So yeah, it's an incredible tool, and I benefit from the communication part of social media a lot. Like, that is how I get to communicate with my family when I'm on the road for 5-6 weeks at a time. I've known someone in the past, that was an alpine skier when his girlfriend had to, go to the phone booth and call in. So definitely grateful for social media for those aspects. But yeah, I could definitely be using it a lot more to my advantage.
Anyone else? How it's been helpful?
I feel the same way, that I could definitely be like using it in a way to benefit me better, but it's really hard. Like, you've got to keep up with it, and yeah. And I'm taking pictures sometimes every day for 6-7 days, and then at night I'm editing, and it takes forever, and I'm just trying to like get through it, and I'm almost like, here's the content, everyone, use what you want. But like, I don't share it as often on my own page. Like, it's kind of like the last thing I think of, but it's like a great way to connect with other people, with other photographers, with riders. If you want to be shooting like a specific project, like, it's really cool to connect people, but it's challenging. You gotta like have balance and not go down the rabbit hole of just like watching like crochet videos, all night long.
Definitely when I was younger, watching YouTube videos of people snowboarding or doing whatever, it definitely inspired a lot of tricks. Like, I'd be like, Coach, I want to do this, tell me how to do it, type thing. But yeah, definitely now it's more technical when I watch people do tricks and stuff. But yeah, I see an inspiration.
I love that. It's one of the things that when working with athletes, we get caught up in that comparison mode. Right? I'm not doing enough, this sort of thing. But I love how you're taking it as like, they're showing me what's possible. I want to learn this. Let's watch that again, right? Getting excited, getting motivated. What are some of maybe the more negative traps that you have experienced or seen, or with the social media side of things? Anyone share?
Doom scrolling. I don't know, any negative content, the comparison game. It's definitely the highlight reel for a lot of people, and I don't know, it's different, like, I don't know, living through a contest, seeing what actually happens, and then seeing what's on social media and going, oh, okay, yeah, sure, so that's one way to look at it, Yeah.
But I think that's such a huge point, right? To how it's dangerous, because it is edited. It is presented in a way. And I think if I could ask a question of how would you like to help young female athletes navigate social media when it comes to some of those things, when they start perhaps comparing themselves to some of those highlight reels. What's some advice? What would you want them to know?
I was just gonna say, it is that damn phone. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, you do your sport all the time, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go on my phone, I'm gonna distract myself. What do you see? What do you follow is more of your sport, more of the comparison. So yeah, sometimes that's, the negative part of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go, watch some reels, and then next thing you know, you're just watching the same people that you were out there with, or even others that you just in the snowboard community. And yeah, you just compare yourself to where you are, like what they did during training that you now see, that you didn't see, actually. Like, you were on the chair, you didn't notice at all. And then next thing you know, it's in your face. Yeah, honestly, the best thing to do is to get off the damn phone. Actually, so I need to be better at it. But also, so this is my internal dialogue. It's like, I need to be better at it. But also, like, I don't want to be on it. But like,
Also, I don't want a phone anymore.
actually, just call me on a flip phone.
So taking social media breaks.
Yeah.
Has anyone done that on purpose, deliberately? I'm taking social media breaks and really made that a practice.
I deleted TikTok a couple years ago.
Okay.
I got it back. Guys, tell me to take it off again.
What is it, you know, do you feel like that would be beneficial?
No, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a little bit, I deleted TikTok and Instagram, and I only went on it like through the Safari app.
That's good.
But then you just get wrapped up in the same loop of like, yeah, but it's just easier, or like, yeah, it's just entertainment. But yeah, just when you're on vacation or when I'm away from snowboarding, I tend to be a lot less on my phone and just actually interact with my people.
Awesome.
And actually, have FaceTime, not through the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps to share that and create a boundary with people and just say, hey, I'm gonna be off my phone for a bit, right? Like, especially through this holiday time, like, you know, we're doing all this stuff, but we've got out of office, but we're still replying. So it's, it's a challenge to do that. So I think one of the last areas that I want to touch in is around the allies in the industry. How can it be better? How can brands and shops and other supporters in the industry support female athletes? What's missing? What are some conversations that could happen? Any ideas?
I mean, the obvious one is that probably all of us need a little bit more funding in this travel sport. I don't know.
Any ideas how we could do that? How can we do that?
Email is for
I was gonna pivot away from that a bit, that if someone has the capacity to, or just the capacity in general, hosting, I think women's events or intro events, it's so hard to make it not intimidating because, like, I don't know, if you're an average person looking at a 22-foot half pipe, it's like, no, like, why? There's so many other areas to ski that look a lot safer. But like hosting like half pipe events, or I guess snowboard, ski, like kind of doing combo events too, if that's possible. It's so hard to get girls out, but also just like for any girls listening, like show up to those events because they're so fun and you can meet new friends and I don't know, learn a backflip or something. That'd be kind of crazy, but you never know. Like, I don't know, like, I think it's kind of both sides, like showing up yourself, but also having those opportunities available. And I know they're out there definitely at like the grassroots level, but
You think that's where it needs to start?
Yeah, I
to
think-
really just get rooted and then just continue to build up to the highest performance.
Because like I think it happens to us in the half pipe at least. Like lots of people come to the Calgary World Cup, which is awesome, and often I've had parents be like, "How do we get our kids in this?" I'm like, such a good question. I don't know, but like we always do a spring like end of season camp, like when it's slushy and warm, and like really we try and make it as not intimidating as possible. And it's a big group of people, and I think those events are really helpful.
Make it accessible,
Yeah.
show how people can participate in really clearing some pathways to that to make it easier. Fantastic, I love that. Did you want to add something?
Perfect example today of Light Up the Pipe with Alberta Snowboarding.
So cute.
It was pretty cool to see. I mean, there's like 50 plus kids that were registered in that event, and I mean, to make that a fun thing for kids to show up and do those events, and then and then they get to watch World Cup, and it might inspire them to push further. So initiatives like that, I mean, I know that Alberta Snowboarding provides so many opportunities for younger kids, and I mean, the clubs out there as well, just to have the kids see another side of snowboarding that is attainable is really important.
It was awesome. They were all in
Yeah.
their costumes and they were lit up and it was the
So
cutest
good.
thing. But that's where it starts. They get excited. They're asking for autographs. I saw you all signing autographs yesterday, right? And so that's the excitement. And then they look up and they're like, wow, that's so cool. So, yeah. Okay. I am going to ask this one last question. I probably ought not to, but just in terms of timing. But what gets you excited about the future of skiing and snowboarding. What gets you excited?
I mean, seeing all these incredible women here, like talking about, you know, snowboarding and just being really passionate about it and getting more, you know, younger athletes passionate about the sport and, you know, passing on their values. And yeah, it's just really cool to see. And I mean, I've seen this one grow up and it's just been like super inspiring to see her pathway. And yeah, so it's just really neat to see, as a coach, you see them grow, and whether they go on as a national team athlete or university student. I mean, we have a former athlete that's he just got his PhD in astrophysics, which is, yeah, crazy. But you see all these pathways, and whether it's in the 1% or it's values that you take in your life and for life, that's what gets me really excited about snowboarding, is that it's a community that just carries you through your life, no matter what your pathway is.
Thank you. It's starting to happen slowly, right? We're seeing it at our Olympic Games. Paris was equal, 50-50 with female and male athletes. Milano Cortina has promised to provide, I think they are calling it gender equity in terms of media coverage. So, yes, yes.
Having a female mentor for female coaches is for us, has been super meaningful. And I mean, speaking just for myself, like being a part of Canada Snowboard and delivering the coaching courses as well. So kind of bringing that full circle is pretty incredible. And I think that the retention is a lot higher because they do see that female presence and that there's something that's possible beyond being an athlete, and just having kind of those discussions and even talking about like career opportunities. And I mean, I've been doing that a lot recently with our athletes because we're doing, you know, a revision of their yearly training plans. And for a lot of them, I mean, they have goals, but you think that not everybody is going to make it as a high performance athlete. So just speaking of experience, with my coaching career, it's taking me all over the world. And I mean, Bud can attest to that as well, like we were talking about before. So there's just so many avenues in snowboarding or skiing that they can take, like being a rep or working in shops, and you can still stay involved in the sport. And I think those discussions are just super important, and like the education to the community. There's so many things that you can do to stay involved with the sport and have a career and get paid to snowboard and ski. Like, what's better than that?
Fantastic.
That answers your question.
We've reached the top of the hour. I'll take one more question. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm a teacher. I teach grade 5 here in Calgary, and when I think about my students and I think about the girls in my class, I get really nervous and I get really scared because they're 10, 11 years old, and I know when they hit 13, 14, 15 that it drops, like their participation in sport just nosedives. And I'm wanting to just be there as much as I can for them, and from the snowboard perspective, which has been very, you know, I see a lot of amazing things and I'm very grateful for that, but I want kind of that general perspective of how we keep girls in sport. How do I do a better job as a teacher for these girls going forward?
Can we just say thank you very much? Being a teacher
Yeah,
of our youth. Thank you. That is such a hard coaching, teaching, incredible. So yeah, any thoughts?
It's such a hard question. Like, it's puberty, and like, I don't know, you start caring about different things at that age too, but I think a huge piece is the encouragement. I think kind of seeing the future for them a bit is helpful. Like, I don't know, like, I honestly don't know what possessed me when I first started, but I was just like, I can do that. Like, I just thought I could do it, and I had a lot of people kind of believe in me along the way when I didn't think I could. So I think that's a big part of it, is the encouragement. It's such a bad answer though, because if someone wants to stop, I don't know.
I think a big piece of that too that we've learned is just getting to know the person, right? right? And then help the athlete, right? And just the more that you can just really know that person and what they're wanting to do, you can support that in whatever path they're looking for. So I think that's one of the key pieces we've seen through a lot of the research. And that helps is like the coach treated me like a human first.
Yeah, and I think going, along those same lines, it's just finding similar-minded people that just, are the black sheeps of their own community, and that can all kind of stick together through a sport and whatever the sport is, and just finding your people.
Well, and I was just going to add some things that already happened is, represent in class, right? Like show things of females in class. They may not be seeing it in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we can also show it in the classroom where you have massive impact. And then just in case there's classroom champions.
Yep.
Right? And so getting women to come in and have those conversations, but representing in the classroom because they may not be getting it at home.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes, we're squeaking one last one.
Just as a mom of two high-performance athletes, my older daughter plays soccer at university and Felicity belongs to us as well. I think the most important part as a mom is them finding their crew. Like through every sport she played, she had a crew. Through every sport Bella played, they had a crew of girls. And those girls changed teams, changed clubs, but they'd still see each other on the pitch. They'd still see each other on the diamond. And it's hard because girls can get crabby and they have fallouts and then it's like this. But if you can support them finding that core bunch of girls with the same values, and parents get along sometimes, but I think that's what I took away from watching both my girls grow up is, like Felicity plays on a team with some of her softball girls for 5-6 years, and some of her soccer, she was playing with them since she was 6 years old. So I think that like-minded group of girls to encourage each other to get your gut to practice, that kind of thing, I think that's a big part of holding that, keep your girls in sport.
Thanks, Mom. I think just hyping them up, like if you know this girl had a soccer game this weekend, hey, how'd your soccer game go? You had a swim meet, how'd your swim meet go? How'd you do? How do you think you did? Just talking to the girls, and the guys obviously, inclusive. But just getting them to talk about their weekends or their sporting events on the weekends, just getting them to talk about it more, I guess.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I believe the panel members will be around if you still want to ask a few questions, but yes.
It's not a question, but as we wrap up, I want to say thank you. I'm Bella, I'm a Alberta Snowboard, and when I started in this role, this is something that I've always wanted. Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. She started crying and I started crying. So this has been a dream to have women on a panel and to talk about the things that they've experienced along the way. Representation matters from, someone that's a photographer that just loves snowboarding and loves the sport, wants to support, just the bigger picture of women and people in this sport, skiing, snowboarding, from professional Olympians to like a coach and someone who, is now a professional snowboarder, but there's just like this beautiful relationship that was formed between, Craig and Liz. And so I just want to thank you, and thank you for that question about how we can support women in sport. I think being here matters. It's not a passive thing to support women. It's like being here, listening, and talking. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to hear. It's been a long time. Just to be here and to support and to be inclusive for women, because winter sports is not always an inclusive space. So thank you for everyone for attending.
Well said. Thank you all. That's it. That's a wrap. Happy New Year, everybody.